May I respond to the question? Our drivers have been trained to manage students and also to provide the necessary care and support to students with some form of disabilities. But there are two responses I can make to the question. One of them is that where we have students who necessarily have to use the bus and they have disabilities, our drivers give assistance. In fact, some of the buses have come in with ramps that enable a disabled child to mount the bus on a wheelchair. And there are others where the driver will just give some physical assistance to the child. However, there were existing arrangements in place through the Ministry of Education and the PATH program for students with disabilities. The rural school bus program exists alongside that. So it hasn't replaced those arrangements, so those students can still benefit from that facility. Thank you.
Ms. Burchell.
Thank you. Thank you, PS. Thank you, Director. And I must say, I'm happy to be here today to be able to learn from what you've been sharing with us, because there's a lot of information out there that is conflicting and confusing, and this PAAC through 73A gives us that opportunity to really follow the money and see where the value is redounding to the benefit of the students. I must tell you that before I came here, I canvassed the views of some of our principals in Western Jamaica. And being a rural MP, this is very important. So, Chairman, I'm going to ask some questions, and then you can stop me when I'm out of time. All right? I'm going to go back a little. I don't know if this is Director or PS, but from the research I've seen and the information swirling, it is said that the buses entered Jamaica without the pre-inspection certificates, which are normally required under Jamaica motor vehicle import policy. That's information. So I want you to clarify for me, right? Why, if that was the case, why was the pre-shipment inspection certificate requirement waived for these buses? And if they were waived, who waived it?
I'm going to ask city details.
Okay.
The buses are inspected.
Sorry?
There was no waiver of the inspection report, and when they come in as well, the ITA, Island Traffic Authority, has to certify the buses as well before the JUTC can put them into their system.
So the pre-certification was done overseas before they came here. By whom?
The first set of buses, the JUTC had a team going out with the supplier of the buses, and they looked at the buses to ensure that we were getting what is in the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Thereafter, the supplier was expected to ensure that he's providing us with what is in the contract. And when the buses get here, the supplier ensures with the JUTC, there's a post-shipment inspection report before the buses are handed over to the JUTC. And when the buses are retrofitted, the JUTC also with the ITA ensure that they fit within our local regulations.
So they would have checked on the mechanics and stuff and
yes.
diff and all of that before it got here. So the fact that they came means that the JUTC and their inspectors assured the government that these were suitable for us here.
Let me back up. The first set of buses, the JUTC with the suppliers ensured that. And so from June 2023, the ministry started.
No, Mr. Cross, if I could just help, it's not the policy of the rural school bus program. I think Ms. Burchell is just asking the policy to switch from used buses to new buses. When did that decision, whether it's a policy or that
and
decision?
And what informed it? And what informed it?
So if I Chairman, what informed the decision to move from the used buses to the new buses is the PPC. The PPC would have clearly indicated that we should go competitive going forward and they should be new buses.
So they felt we weren't competitive with the decision we made before?
I can't say how I would be interpreting their position. I'm telling you what was said in the document.
In the document, okay. All right, so my final question this round. We had the Minister of Education, Dr. Morris, here at Standing Finance Committee this week, and she indicated that we're at about 80% or so thereabout in terms of attendance, school attendance. But the report we got here today is that this rural school bus has dramatically increased the student attendance and truancy and so on. I got very generalized commentary about that. Do you have any specifics, whether from yourself or that you've received from the Minister of Education, that tells you, gives you the confidence that this rural school bus system as is satisfying the need that exists in our school system?
Education and parents.
Just give me a few, let me pull up the data that
All
I
right, while
got
you're
from
pulling
the
up
Ministry of
data,
Education.
I have Mr. in the second round.
It's ready? Okay. When you speak about life expectancy of a bus, you're talking about things like the engine, transmission, and drivetrain, and the number of mileage that a bus may run before it requires midlife refurbishing or before its full life cycle expires. In the case of the rural school buses, the first tranche that are now in the fleet, these are American-made buses. They come with the, what's the name of the engine? Cummins engine, Allison transmission, the best in the world. They have a life cycle of up to 500,000 miles before they are due for major overhaul or refurbishing. The average age of each of these buses is 12 years. The average mileage that we have recorded for the buses is about 160,000, which means that they are not even at pre-life stage as yet if they are operated under normal conditions and they are regularly serviced and maintained. So the life cycle of these buses, if we care for them the way we should and the way the industry recommends that they are cared for, could be another 12, 15 years under our operating conditions, given the average daily mileage that each bus is expected to run. It's a little bit different for buses that are deployed, for example, within the KMTR, where these are from a different region of the world. The components may not be as sturdy, and engine and transmission components might be different, and hence the reason why they are much cheaper. And we have seen where buses are doing as many as 100,000 kilometers in a year, when the industry standard should be around 30, 40,000 kilometers. So it is quite possible that newer buses could expire before some of the older buses, depending on how they are worked, how they are serviced, how they are maintained, and a number of other factors.
Thank you very much for that response, because I've gotten a sense that the used buses we got from the US were extremely sturdy school buses. When you listed the features or benefits of the bus that we procured, I didn't hear one particular area that I found useful. Don't know if it is so, but I do know someone who drove one of the school buses in the US, and he said one of the features, the safety features, was that it had metal panels on either side, heavy duty metal panels. So if you run into a coaster bus or a highest bus, a child would be far more likely to be injured than one of these buses. Does that feature actually exist in the bus, one? And two, would that feature be in the new buses that we would seek to procure. One of the limitations I would suspect would be that middle section at the back of the bus, which is glass. But I've noticed that the students are seated. I don't know, do we carry students standing as well? Or do we, make the effort to ensure that all the students are seated where they would be safest? And what would be the features for the new buses in that regard as well, in terms of safety? And instead of going back around, I'll ask a question coming from Member Morris behind me. He was concerned about the brake capacity of the buses, given our terrain and climate, where the rural spaces significantly deteriorate and we have hilly spaces to traverse. Whether or not you had a specialized braking system that currently exists, and if not, would be considered for the new buses.
I'm getting hand signals from Mr.
Thank
Morris.
you.
Did Mrs. Holness ask your question, or would you? So you don't have a separate. You also want to ask a question. Go. Yes, go ahead.
My question to you is, through you, Mr. Chairman, to Director Ellington, are you considering that come March 31st, your team will have to take responsibility for maintenance? Have you started to interrogate the data and to kind of develop a pattern where the maintenance issues are, so that as soon as you move into or you take over, then there can be a seamless transition in the maintenance process? And so you would be able to take care of the issues with no problem.
Wait, sorry.